Welcome to Black Rose Garden, hosted by Black Rose. And guest co host today, Mr. Nada Edwards. We got a great show for y'all today. I miss y'all, okay? It seems like Tuesdays. Let me tell y'all something about Tuesdays. It takes so long for it to get here, it seems like, even though it's in the beginning of the week, but then I have to wait till next Tuesday, right? To come in here and talk to y'all. I try to stay, visible and stuff on social media and everything, but I've been really, really busy, y'all. I really have. Going into this new year, it's going to be something special. I'm telling you, I ain't got time for the games. We going to do some new stuff this time around, okay? We're not taking no prisoners, okay? Understand that. We ain't taking no prisoners, y'all. All right. But we're here with love. Okay, I'm coming from a good place. I love y'all. And I want to keep y'all educated and informed on all of the things going on. So right now, I need for y'all to go like Monroe Media TV on all social media platforms. Not now, but right now, because we're streaming live right now, okay? And then for my TikTok family, I will be streaming live in a few minutes. We just sharing the show right now and trying to get everything situated. Hey, Mr. Nod.
Well, how are you, Miss Rose?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. What's been going on?
Well, I took a little respite, went to my home in West Virginia, spent an extended time for Thanksgiving with my family. It was our first Thanksgiving without our mom,
Mm-hmm.
and all siblings were in place, and we had a wonderful time. It was just wonderful,
That's
and I feel like I've
wonderful.
been invigorated.
Okay, you look
Okay,
invigorated. I mean, it
everybody
wasn't,
saying that.
yeah, you do. You look like, I guess, because for a lot of us, those elections was kind of rough.
Stressful.
Okay, very stressful. I was happy for them to be over.
You.
I went ahead a little bit because I wasn't as pleased, but I said, you know what, Black, you can't be a sore loser.
Oh no, no, no. In fact, many lessons are taught in loss,
Exactly.
and that tells us who we really are
Mm-hmm.
when we lose.
And when we lose,
Okay?
okay.
When you lose, say nothing. When you win, say less. I'm just
Exactly.
no
That's the
that's
truth.
grace. That's
Yeah.
being gracious. And
Mm-hmm.
so if your cause was your passion before, and if you didn't win the election, you keep at it.
That's
You
right.
know, you keep at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy now DC Council is live again. And it's not just all remote. So now Miss Dawn can go down there in person and sit and stare folks down. Oh, I'm excited. I'm all invigorated. I'm refreshed, restored, and renewed, and ready to get down there and look right at Mr. Mendelssohn and all his crowd. Okay, so that's wonderful. Maybe I may even have time to go to PG County meetings. I don't know. I want to spread my love around.
I know that's right. They are not going to get, I'm telling you, they're going to get tired of me. Because this just opened me up to like, yeah, I'm gonna be right all in their face because my thing is holding people accountable.
Exactly. That's
So
our
I can't
job.
get mad.
That's our job. And it's not about Republican, Democrat. It's not about that. It's about holding people
Accountable.
accountable.
Yes.
That's all. It's nothing personal. People say, you don't like so and so? Please. I don't have time to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Liking and all of that. What do I always say, Rose? There are people who are my friends. I love them. I never want to work with them. There are people I can't stand. I don't want to be in a battle without them.
Okay.
Understand?
Let's just keep it
That's what
real.
grown folks do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
This Brittany Grinder,
Oh,
okay,
grinder.
was released, y'all. All right, and
Mhm.
people are, that's like a double-edged sword, okay? I'm just saying, it's like a double-edged sword. People are a little pissed off, okay? We got some people like, nah, that wasn't a fair exchange, okay? Then we have some that's like, I'm glad she's home, you know. Then we have them people in the middle that's like, okay, she knew that damn weed was in there, and then in the whole 9 yards, she knew it was in there.
She
So,
said she accidentally packed it.
child, ain't no way in
I'm
the
just,
world. We going to Russia, okay? Just for one thing.
yeah.
We're going to Russia. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have all my ducks in a row. Okay.
Where, where you work.
Where you work?
Because you see, the women in the WNBA, many of them play overseas after the season for them is over
Right.
here.
Right.
Because they don't make money like the men.
Mm-hmm.
So they play internationally.
International. That's right.
So when one goes to a foreign country,
Mm-hmm.
one must do as they do. I mean, the laws are what they are.
Right.
And some people say, well, it was just a little bit of this, a little bit. If there is a total ban on something,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And then some people did talk about the conditions of the prison. Well, newsflash, everybody, they don't have weight rooms and color television in those
In
prisons
those
in foreign,
prisons. Right.
you know.
They the
I
country
mean,
club prison. We just be talking shit when we be saying. I don't even think it's a such thing.
mm,
Not for us anyway.
oh,
Okay.
they have them, but
We'll
comparatively, I guess it.
right.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ. So what the just my thoughts is, okay, I'm happy she's home,
I am too.
okay?
Yeah.
But do I think she learned her damn lesson? No. Do I think that was that a fair exchange? No, it was not. And I'm just keeping it real. This my opinion, okay?
Mhm.
This how I feel. It ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Mind your business, okay? You know, it wasn't a fair exchange. Even though he still had 10 years left on his before he was released, Dr. Death or whatever they call him. I just feel like that was not a fair exchange. Okay, but they were going to do anything that they can to make sure that that man was released. I feel like it's a whole bunch of other people, like the Marine.
The Marine, and there are others even
Mhm.
similarly situated to him, in
Right.
that same level. There are a number of people. We just heard about him
Mm-hmm.
because he had been, I suppose, the most talked about.
Right.
And that his release was at first to be a part of her, a two-person release
Mm-hmm.
from their situations in exchange for this one uh, terrible Russian guy, the arms dealer and murderer, and I mean, he had so many titles, but he
Yeah.
was a horrible,
He
horrible
was a
person.
horrible person.
Yeah.
And I just really feel like I don't think that that was a fair exchange. I had, like I said, that situation was like a double-edged sword because there were so many people who reached out just to ask me my opinion of it.
Mm.
I really don't have an opinion of it. It's just one of those things that right now I'm trying to, I feel like, I mean, well, yeah, I just feel like it wasn't a fair exchange, and that's as far as it go.
Mhm.
um
Are you feeling that it might set a bad precedent? Okay.
yeah, I really do.
Hmm.
It's because those type of, it sometimes it looks like a weakness,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, to the place like Russia.
Hmm.
Russia is has a lot of arrogance
Well,
with what they have going on. So sometimes it may seem like a weakness. It may seem as if we'll trade anybody, our goddamn grandmother. Okay.
well,
You know what I'm saying? It's
the other thing that I think got lost on some people is Mr. Putin is former KGB.
mm-hmm.
See, so his mindset and the way his brain works is so different
Yeah.
than what the
Yeah.
average American even thinks about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll go to a James Bond movie or, a spy movie and think this is it. It's way more sinister than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we don't have a real grasp of what people will stoop to
Mm-hmm.
in the scheme of things because we're naive about a lot of things, even how the penal systems work. I mean, there are some people who think you get a phone call everywhere before, when you get locked up
Right.
on the face of the earth, and that's not true.
That's not true. Right.
You know,
Right.
look at the kids who are being extradited. I'm saying kids to Mexico in the
Mm-hmm.
case of the young woman who was murdered.
Quilla Robinson.
Yes, Miss
Mm-hmm.
Robinson's murder, and they're getting ready to find out just what prison is really like,
Yeah.
especially the part of Mexico they're going to,
And they need to,
and they need to. Yeah.
I kind of like fell off that story a little bit
Mhm.
because, last week we had Alexis Jones, the mother of Jalen
Right.
Jones, in the studio yesterday, and I had been taken back by that whole story,
Mhm.
and it just put me in a place where I said, you know what, it's time for you to go into phase 5.
Mhm.
I'm in these I it's levels to this for me
Yeah.
when it comes to the missing and murder community. I try to educate myself on what needs to be done. First, get out and find out what's going on.
Mhm.
What needs to be done, things need to be put into place. um Talk to a lot of law enforcement agencies and investigators and prosecutors and everything, because right now we're trying to get some legislation together. Okay, because I find out the biggest problem with that, where the law enforcement and prosecutors have issues at, is when it comes to there's no laws put into place. Okay.
Mhm.
I was telling my listening audience and family that this is the holidays. So we have families grieving. At the same time of having families grieving, we have families that are in courts right now, going through the court process right now. And I'm hearing some terrible stories. And talking to these families and trying to explain to them where, it's no laws put into place. Who wants to keep hearing that?
Mhm.
But what we need to do is we need to understand that there's not a lot of laws put into place, and the ones that are put into place, they're not pushing them like they should. So we need to be more vocal about getting them to push these laws that they already have into place. That's what we need to be concentrating on right now,
Mhm.
and trying to get some more laws put into place. When I think of people like Relisha Rudd,
Oh,
okay, I don't even have to go no further than that.
that's right.
That was one of the most, when I got into her story and I realized how much that child was failed, and the things that were put into place. Like, we have murderers walking the street right now. Okay, people that are neglectful. Okay, that child neglectors
Mhm.
walking the street right now
Mhm.
that should be held accountable, but they have not been. When you come to look at everything that happened in that child's case, that God infamous letter that was taken to the school, that was supposed to have been signed by Dr. Tatum. Okay, the fact that her mother eluded the police for 18 days, okay? Just all of the things that is centered around that. How the school, okay, failed her because that child had been missing for over 30 some days.
Mhm.
Okay, 35 days, 36 days. And they waited to even swing into action to even ask for excuses for that. And as we're talking about child endangerment and things, you worked in family court,
I did.
working with
For almost a
children.
decade, I represented children only in
Mm-hmm.
those neglect cases. They called it CCAN, the abused and neglected children.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some horrific situations.
Right.
Okay. And you're talking about systems failing, the school
Mhm.
system failing, uh, our communities failing, in that there should be a level of community advocacy
Mhm.
such that when we see children being neglected, and many of us do,
Yeah.
okay, we don't report anything. You know, why should someone need to be what we call a mandatory reporter?
Right.
You see what I mean? You
Right.
can't legislate everything.
Mhm.
Okay. And what when I listened to what you're talking about with Relisha, I saw so many children being failed by the school system,
Mhm.
the social service system,
Yes.
their own parental family system. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the first unit we look to.
Right.
Okay. And then we need to stop being naive people, with stereotypical ideas about super moms and all of that. Every mom is not a super mom.
Mhm.
Okay, we need to own some
Yeah,
things.
we
Okay,
do.
I mean,
Yeah, we
there, and
do.
by representing children, Miss Rose, I did encounter some mothers. I'm going to go there first because so many were single mothers. Did not really want their children.
Okay.
Let's
Let's
just
just be
stop.
real.
Let's
Let's
just
be
stop
real.
right. I
Mhm.
mean, hang out right there,
Mhm.
because that is real. You
Yeah.
know, this thing about all, especially since I'm African American mothers wanting their children, that is not true.
Mhm. That's right.
And I would say sometimes in court, let's ascertain
And
whether
that's been
they,
going on
you
since
know,
Jesus was a
was a
baby.
baby. Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you remember a couple of cases where the judges believed that the mothers were ready to, and the next thing you know what? The child was dead. You
Okay.
remember that? You
Mhm.
remember that
I
case?
remember
Yeah,
several.
several.
Malaya
Yeah.
Davis, okay, was one. The
Mm-hmm.
little girl out of Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That was one that comes right off the,
Yeah. Right into your
yeah,
mind.
because it was a horrifying situation
Yeah.
that that child went through. She was actually put back into, she had suffered an injury where they actually said she fell out of a chair,
Oh,
right? The child had to wind up having two major brain surgeries. And she had to be walking around with a helmet on
on
her
her head.
head.
Mm-hmm.
She was nothing but 4 years old, okay? But then when you look at the situation, she was given back to her parents. This happened at her grandmother's house
Mm-hmm.
with her grandmother and both of her, well, her mom and her stepdad being involved. And 18 months later, this baby is murdered by the stepfather, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then that brings us to something else about how we handle our home lives.
Mm-hmm.
What people are we bringing in on top of our children? You know,
Right.
uh, and I'm going to say something that's controversial. And please, folks, don't blame Miss Rose. This is Miss Don talking. Um, and
You ain't got to stick
you
up for
know,
me
no, no,
because
but
I
I'm just
probably
saying.
have some stuff,
Yeah, yeah, I know,
look,
but I know
okay.
how people try to, make me guilty by
Nah, baby,
association.
just,
But you know what, Miss Rose? Some women want a man in the house so badly. I don't know how to put it way up here. I'm gonna be right down here.
meet them
That,
where they at.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that we will accept anything, even when we see some red flags.
Yes.
Hear me now. I was on that calendar almost 10 years. This is not what I read in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I didn't see this on TV or at the movies. I'm saying they wanted a man in the home so badly. I'm thinking of one case down there that I sat and listened to. And the mother uh, had two little girls, one
Mm-hmm.
6 and one 8.
Mm-mm-mm.
And she took up with, in fact, she was married to this man, um, and had a baby by him, but he molested the 8-year old. He actually penetrated the 8-year-old girl.
Good God Almighty.
And at the hearing, he said that she was so mature and she came on to him. Now, this is a grown man. Okay. See, we're going to get into some real stuff coming up in January.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just an example of a horrific case right down at the Superior Court. And The judge ordered the mother not to have any contact with the man who was in jail, okay,
Mm.
and make sure that my two little clients, the 6 and 8-year-old girls, didn't have any contact, and I was with a colleague, and instead she took them to the jail, said he wanted to apologize.
Jesus
I,
Christ.
don't ask me what I said because I can't repeat it on this show.
Mm. Mm-mm.
And the judge was horrified. The judge was horrified. And I'm just saying that those are that's not a rare thing. That happens
A
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah, that happens a
That
lot.
happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful who we bring into the sphere where our children are. Okay. Now that just happened to be a lady doing it. It could happen in reverse. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm not putting it all on, men, being molesters. There have been women who have molested children, so-called babysitters. I saw a lot of things in the court. Not all my cases, but just sitting there. And in those cases, only attorneys and social workers and those parties on the case are supposed to be in the courtroom.
Right.
Those are supposed to be closed. So I'm saying that to people because if you get down there and there are a lot of people in the courtroom who shouldn't be there, make the clerk of the court know and the bailiff know that some people are in that courtroom who should not be there because it
Mm-hmm.
gets very intense sometimes and they get very busy and the judge may not always see who's there. So, no, we're in trouble. And I think a lot of it, this thing with the juvenile justice problem that we're
Mm-hmm.
having, with so many juveniles being involved in crime, we're going to find there is a relationship here with this neglect. I'm glad you used the word neglect because sometimes we jump to abuse, but neglect is a real issue.
Yeah.
It's a real,
It's a
yeah,
it
yeah.
starts to, I mean, the neglect comes first. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of people don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah,
The neglect comes
yeah.
first.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just not a man.
No,
You know,
no, no.
we have different reasons why these women fall short.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my grandmother always used to say, "Mama's baby, Papa's maybe."
Mm-hmm.
So whether the motherfucking father is around or not, excuse my language,
Mm-hmm.
that's your baby. That baby came out of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've lived by that all of my life now. I have 3 children
Mm-hmm.
that I've raised by myself. When it came to, I was a young parent.
Right.
And I'm not saying that everybody is going to have this because these babies don't come with instructions.
No,
We didn't come with instructions when
no,
we came from our parents.
no.
They didn't have a clue what the hell they was doing when they had us.
Right.
Just like we didn't have a clue. All I
Exactly.
knew is I wanted to love my children. I wanted to give them love that sometimes that I didn't receive.
Well, you wanted to give them yourself.
Mhm.
And see, we
Mhm.
get into have you heard people say, I want my children to have better? And
Yes.
usually they're talking about things.
Mhm.
That's not always better.
Better. Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I had to learn young, and I was a mom young, so I did not want to I wanted to have good children in this world.
And you have them.
And I have them. I can knock on wood and I can thank God that I've never had to go and sit and watch one of my babies, in a jail cell or
Mm-hmm.
go to court with one of them or any of those type of things. And I was a lenient parent. I did not reward bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my kids got a kick off of that. And that's why they always did well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they always did well in school because I never gave them responsibilities that they should have had, like grown people responsibility. They
Mm-hmm.
was children.
Mm-hmm.
Their responsibility was to do good in school,
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you are kind to people. All right. Do your chores where you can get the best out of life. Let me worry about how these bills are. Because, see, sometimes when your child is in a you have children in a situation where they barely have food to eat, you think they ain't worrying about that?
Oh, sure.
You think that they're not going to feel in their heart that they have to swing into action and try to fix something? Why you think we have so many children that fall short and they're out here, they're selling drugs or stealing cars?
Stealing.
You know what I'm
Stealing,
saying? Or
period.
prostituting, or, being pulled into sex trafficking and things of that nature because they have been given grown people responsibilities. They sit around and they worry. The parent, they don't see the parent doing too much worrying, unless they're worrying about themselves. Like we see these movies where, these women be laid up with these men and these kids, go in there to look in the refrigerator and they ain't got nothing to eat. That shit is true.
Oh yeah. I lived it on that calendar. I lived it on the calendar. And what you're talking about, those behaviors, when the children see something is wrong, some of them are very mature and they say, we need something to eat. Now, for instance, if there's a hierarchy with the children, like the older ones look at the little ones and say, he hasn't eaten. I mean, they
Yeah,
feel that.
yeah,
That kicks in. It's a survival thing. And so some parents actually come to rely on the children doing parental duties.
exactly. Yeah,
That's a huge
that's a
problem in
huge
that neglect
problem.
cycle.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I was riding home with a young lady and she was telling me how, she works so much and she has a 13-year-old, and this 13-year-old is basically, taking care of her youngest, the youngest sibling while she goes to work and everything. And she felt really bad about it, leaving him there. And she said she remember when she was transitioning and getting the new job and she had to go for the orientation. And he got really pissed off, like, Mom, I've been in here watching this baby. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted the 13-year-old,
Yeah,
which is normal.
yeah, I want a 13-year-old life, and I'm tired of watching these kids, this baby and everything. You leaving me in here with this baby. And, and she chastised him, which I told her that was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was
because
wrong.
it was wrong. Yeah. Yeah. To make him feel that's his
To
responsibility.
make him feel that's his responsibility. That is not his responsibility. Now I remember when we moved to St. Louis, I didn't know nobody from a can of paint. What I did do is I taught my children how to, because I didn't trust nobody. I didn't know nobody.
Well,
Even if I did have family down there, I still wouldn't trust them with my babies because they were just sacred to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I taught them how to ride the bus. I taught them how to, I tried to get jobs that were centered around. I might have to leave a little early. It ain't going to be good both ways. You know what I'm saying? I might have to leave a little early. I'm going to have to teach y'all how to ride this bus. No, I had to work, an extra job because I wanted them to be all in the same school. So that was private school money right there. Transportation, getting on public transportation, but I had to map it out in a way where I'm like, okay, my baby's gonna be going one way on one bus, I'm gonna be going the other way. Because we can come right out of our house, literally, and they can get on Grand Avenue and they can get on the bus going this way, get right off in front of the school. I'm going on the bus, going this way, getting right off in front of my job. And then I'm coming out of my job, which I was working at St. Louis University School of Medicine at the time. Come out of my job and I can get right on the bus, and I timed it. I used to be pissed off when that bus was late. You get me?
Oh yeah.
I used to be pissed
Absolutely.
off when that damn bus was late.
Because you were thinking about the safety
I
of your
was thinking
children.
about the safety because I knew that my children were going to be home.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to, I didn't want to let them down.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to have them in a place where if I was a minute late and they knew it's just me and them.
Mm-hmm.
How you think they gonna feel if I'm a couple of minutes late and I'm mom, I'm all they got. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna automatically think something is wrong. Something is keeping me from being there.
Or they might be fearful of entering the home, people watching them enter the
Yeah.
home. You see what I mean? Because you have taught them so well to be alert
To be
to
alert,
their
you know.
surroundings.
And so, you know, even though when they got at home, I always made sure I had a snack. They go in the refrigerator, they grab that sandwich, they get them chips and that honey juice, baby, green. You know, my daughter, the little one, like the green one. My son like the blue one, and then Donnie did like the red one. They had that because I don't want no arguments. I don't want nobody to stick nobody with a fork because you got the wrong color and all that. I tried to map it out. You know,
Right. You had a plan.
the plan. And if as long as we follow this plan, and this is what I used to tell my kids, if we follow this plan, y'all listen to what mama tell y'all to do, we gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, we were laughing on the phone just a couple of days ago. It's just ironic how I'm talking about this. We were laughing on the phone the other day because she was like, remember, mom, you had took that second job and you were working a little, you were getting off a little late because I usually be home at least by 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't gonna be getting home till about 4. So this Miss Thing, I used to tell them, look, don't go outside,
Right.
you know, until I come home.
Mm-hmm.
Cause by the time I come home, you gonna have enough, you know, street light time left.
Mm-hmm.
Because when that motherfucker come on, you better come on. You know what I'm saying? You have enough time, ride your little bike, the whole thing. So Miss Thingy thing, she went on outside
Uh-oh.
and stepped on a board with a rusty nail in it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, she's 29 years old and still talks about that and says, you know, and that was a pivotal moment in her life. She said, had I listened to you, I wouldn't have never had to go through that.
Yeah, but she had to have a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had to have them shots, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the foot all messed up, you know, all of that stuff, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I just,
See what you instilled in her.
mm-hmm,
Now she will not depart from that because it's a part of her
mm-hmm.
being. You see, and if she even does, she's gonna feel condemned about it
She gonna
because
feel condemned.
there you go.
Yeah, she
Because you
is.
put that in.
Mm-hmm. And I say, given my, I'm saying all of this to say, I didn't have the perfect life.
No.
I went through hell. I have some testimonies, not just a testimony. I have several fucking testimonies. I can tell y'all. Y'all be like, girl, I can as you sitting here. So I
Alive
have
and
no,
in your right mind.
alive and in my right mind. It's just that I don't make, that's why I don't make excuses for people. If
Right.
I could, cause see, we gotta stop living like that. We gotta stop with the making
Coddling people.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because when you, some people take that, people feeling sorry for them and, oh, you know, it's because of her mental health. Oh, it's because of so and so and so and so. Oh, you know, her man left her the other day. That's why she, you know what I'm saying? Nah,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll take that excuse, chew that shit up and swallow it, and then the next time they can have a big, they'll have a, you'll have a big excuse for why they screwed up again, even worse.
Well, no child asks to come here.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, now the child is here. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
You know, and the responsibility is ours. But we
Mm-hmm.
bring that child into the world, and we are responsible
And we are
for
responsible.
nurturing
Mm-hmm.
that child.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people get mad, and particularly the ladies, you know, get mad because the gentleman doesn't step up. Well, you can't be angry with the child
Yeah.
for the shortcomings of the father.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens sometimes, you know, and I've seen it go to the extreme, to the point where the child is mistreated because they are an extension of that other parent. You know, they project that uh, negative feeling
Or that parent,
on
that other,
on the
yeah.
other parent onto the child.
Or that other parent don't want to be
Yeah.
bothered with the
Yeah,
other one
right,
anymore.
right.
You know, like in the case of Anaya Day,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a young 4-year-old, another 4-year-old who was brutally neglected. I mean, it was the worst case of child neglect and child endangerment that I have ever seen in my life.
And you've seen some terrible stuff.
And I've seen some terrible things, but to hear about this baby and the fight that her father had, he came all the way from Ohio because he was trying to get that story out. He came all the way from Ohio just to be on my show, be a guest on my show, to get that information out. You know, and that baby, he had been fighting to get custody of that child because even it went as far as where that baby was being neglected so bad and being abused so bad till one of the teachers, basically when that baby came with blood running out of her ear, that teacher stood up and said, no, over my dead body, I don't care if I get fired, I don't care what happened, y'all are not taking this baby back to this house. That baby ended up going back to that house. That next morning, the ambulance was coming to get that child. And on top of that, the father had just won custody the day that the baby was murdered. When I say that I followed that whole case, and I'm talking about in the most intimate times, like going with him with that whole process of going, he had her cremated, the whole funeral process. They couldn't even put makeup on that baby because you literally seen bruises from her head all the way down to her feet. I mean, I listened to the whole court testimonies from the parent, from what social workers had found out. And this was basically a mom who was scorned. The dad didn't want to be bothered, but he wanted to love on his child, and he did not physically wanted to take the child from her. That only came into play when he started noticing things about the child. You know, the school started complaining about certain things, and so he fought like hell, but he ended up, the mom of Anaya ended up getting life in prison without parole, and her boyfriend got 20 years in prison. Well, 20 to 25 years in prison, um, there. And so it's like listening to that whole court case and seeing the pictures of that baby. And I have pictures on my Instagram right now of that baby laying in the casket. It was one of those situations where her father wanted the world to see what the system allowed to happen to her child. He ended up suing this child and welfare down in Ohio. He won. You know what I'm saying? And people were fired and all kinds of stuff, but it still did not bring Anaya back.
No. And what's important about this story is here is a father who was seeking custody.
A
And
father
that's
seeking
what we're going to
custody.
get into,
Yeah.
you know, in our program coming up in January. That custody is not based upon who the mother is or who the father is. It's based upon the best interest of the child. That's the
Right.
standard. And we want people to understand that because we have some misinformation in our community,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, because the mother may not be the best parent.
Exactly. And you can explain that a little better because a lot of like the situation with Antonio Willard, Relisha Rudd's stepfather.
Oh, yeah, he was just here.
Just here, you know, and the fact that he has been fighting for almost 9 years to get custody of his
His
boy.
boys.
I mean, he was trying to get the, you know, the other child that didn't belong to him as well.
And we do have a process in the District of Columbia for what we call third-party custody. And that typically, involves grandmothers or aunts or, but it can involve a step parent.
Yeah, it's one of who their child's grandmother, and
Mm-hmm.
the mother gave up her parental rights. Relicia's flyer wasn't even dry. Okay, before she gave up custody, for her parental rights and all of that stuff. But
And the other thing that I think we sometimes don't hone in on enough is who mandatory reporters are, because it includes some people that sometimes we don't think about. Okay, and it's different in each jurisdiction. For instance, in some jurisdictions, clergy are excused from reporting, but in other jurisdictions, they are mandatory reporters. Mhm. And see, mandatory reporting can take place in elder abuse, child abuse, I mean, and typically we just think of it in certain areas.
Miss Dawn's justice, because let's get into it.
Okay.
Let's get into it, because I need for these people to understand, like, when I say we coming for y'all January, we're coming for y'all January, and
Yeah.
Miss Dawn's justice.
Yeah.
Coming soon, January
soon. Yeah.
2023.
And we will be dealing with family violence
Mm-hmm.
in every aspect. That will include elder abuse, domestic violence, and child neglect and abuse.
All right.
All of that. And so there are so many topics that come under that, like custody and support and all of that kind of mental health. I mean, that is all a part of it. So we'll do case examination, but we'll also look at the underpinnings in those situations, like service failures.
Right.
You're talking about system failures, and we're going to no holds barred. Okay, we're just going to tell the truth.
Yes.
When the systems fail, and everybody having to be accountable, including parents.
Including parents.
Okay?
Yes,
Because
indeed.
I am tired of looking at those little teddy bear memorials.
Okay.
Okay, and they get all
You better
dirty
speak.
and look neglected, like the neglected
Yeah.
children.
Yeah. So
Think
y'all
about
put them
it.
teddy bears up there, y'all leave them.
Leave
They
'em,
get
they
wet,
and
snowed out,
dirty and
and
unkept.
be right there.
And I'm tired of tennis shoes on the power lines and sneakers. I'm tired of all of that.
Stuck to the lamppost like this.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, looking a
I'm
mess.
tired of that.
I'm tired of it.
And something else I'm tired about is the GoFundMe for people who don't deserve to have a GoFundMe. And you all know what I'm talking about.
That's
I don't have
right.
to explain it.
That's right.
Nobody's operating with zero knowledge. You know what I mean? So don't sit up there talking about he was a good boy and she was a good girl, and and you scared of him. You don't even want him in your house.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah, and he was
yeah.
just on Instagram
Yeah.
with how they do the phone. They take the stacks of money and they make the phone, or they have it lined up against. He was just on there like that. I seen him.
Yeah.
I seen him.
Yeah.
And I was like appalled that the parent, after where that money at?
Yeah.
You probably ain't know shit about it, but where that money at? That nigga was just on that damn. Let me show you. I done showed the parent. Look, that's what your boy was doing, girl. And
Yeah. Or
it.
you have heard about the parent we were just talking about throwing money up in the air on the Facebook. hmm So come January, folks. I mean, it's, yeah, it's going to be raw. RAW.
Okay.
All caps, bold, italics. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're gonna get some blowback, but don't worry about it. I didn't get to be 72 being stupid.
Okay. Understand that.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about what I read in the book or saw on TV, or as some people say, I saw it at the movie. No, I
Mm-hmm.
live this, and I'm
Yes.
tired of it.
Tired of it.
I'm tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of the system failing,
Mm-hmm.
failing schools,
Yeah.
failing social service.
Y'all feeling.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's right.
I'm tired of it.
That's right. Because
Yeah.
all roads lead home.
Uh-huh.
And like I always say, Black Lives Matter starts in your black house.
That's right.
That's where it starts
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
You can scream it all you want to.
I,
You be out in the streets, but is you making sure that Black Lives matters in your own damn house?
and Miss Rose, this is gonna be really. I'm gonna make a lot of people. I'm tired of marching.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I ain't doing it no more.
Now, I'm tired of marching.
I had people mad at me 2019, Mr. Nada, when I told them I'm not doing it no more. 2020, get out of my face. I done threw enough rocks.
I was
I
glad for
done
the
burnt some
pandemic. We
stuff
couldn't have
down.
marches.
Yeah, Baltimore don't want to see me no more because when Freddie Gray,
Mm-hmm.
was done the way he was done, I was down there.
Mm-hmm.
I was down there. That was like that was, I'm not going to say, Mike Brown. I
Mm-hmm.
was in Ferguson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was in Ferguson. Yes, I was right there. And I met some great people out there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I thought I was out there for all the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when I found out, that was my pivotal moment right there. That when I found out that we're all out there screaming and hollering, okay, but they ain't a goddamn person hearing us, and everybody ain't screaming and hollering the same damn thing. So what are we out there for?
Mm-hmm.
So that was my pivotal moment to say, no, I'm done with this shit here. I'm gonna have to find another way. I had the freedom fighters telling me, cussing me out. All I don't care. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to, because we ain't getting just no hoses with water thrown at us no more.
No.
Okay,
No.
they shooting us. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they shooting us down like dogs,
And we're killing each other.
and we killing each other.
That's the main thing. So if Black lives really matter,
Mm-hmm.
then let's get hold to how we run our homes, how we deal with raising our children.
Mm-hmm.
It starts there
It starts
because
there.
some of this abuse is learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's learned behavior. So just like we learn abusive behavior, we can learn loving behavior.
Loving behavior.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
nurturing behavior. Sometimes, when you look in the animal world
Mm-hmm.
and you see how animals nurture their young.
Yeah.
Now these are
These are animals
animals.
that's out in the wild.
Yeah, in the wild.
They don't have a home.
Yeah.
They don't have a car they can get into, and all of these things that you have. And I see
Think
that.
about that. I like
Yeah.
nature shows. I don't know about do you
Yeah.
like those? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just it's so instinctive, and so the other thing they do is some of them teach the child to hunt or
Yeah.
whatever it has to do to
Mm-hmm.
it's taught, it's over time, even the birds in the nest.
Mm-hmm.
And when that bird gets to a certain size, guess what? It gets put out the
They
nest.
put out the
Hello.
nest.
Now,
Okay.
birds have more sense than some
Damn.
people.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what I mean? That mother bird and father bird look, oh Lord, you mighty big to be looking for a worm here. You know, it's time, it's time for you to go. Now and then I'm gonna have a 40-year-old in my house and not work.
That's talking shit to me.
Talking mama,
Okay, I come in here.
mama, what we gonna have for dinner?
Yeah. All the eating up all the greens, all the chitlins. Yeah. All
I'm
that.
just saying that.
Okay,
I look
yeah.
outside and see a
Yeah.
bird pushing that hole out. It's
Yeah.
fly or die.
Okay. And they ain't looking back. And they gonna go on back in that nest. They ain't gonna look at you take off for none of that stuff, and they ain't gonna feel bad about it.
And they're not gonna have a GoFundMe from the other birds.
No, they not.
So, no, he was a good boy. He was a good boy. He
It
was
was a
good.
good boy. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, nah, let's be real,
But
because
I'm
this is
just
what we need. That I'm serious, because I'm sick of it. I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch The Woman King.
oh, I
Ooh,
haven't seen it, Miss
say
Rose.
when I say it's things that I don't think people is going to really like that because it's the truth.
Uh-oh.
Okay, it's the
Truth
truth.
tellers.
Is the truth teller. Is it, and it's a movie that is needed in this time because we're on this thing of trying to change our way of thinking.
Mhm.
We have been thinking the wrong thing for so long. We have been programmed. We have been we saddle. We listen to what somebody have to say and we take their word for it. Okay, a lot of stuff has been hidden when it comes to how things was, and even when it comes to slavery. I always
Slavery.
used to
That's right.
say,
Mhm.
I always used to say it was us that started that whole thing. We helped them. We were kings and queens and we had our own villages,
Mhm.
y'all.
Mhm.
We had we plentiful things. We were growing palm trees and palm oil and
Mhm.
gold and diamonds.
No.
Why you think they have something called blood diamonds?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, like that comes from Africa, y'all. Everything that I'm these are things
The
that
term. The term.
they always had.
Mhm.
They always had all of that going on. So to see that and understand how that whole situation, you know, it was just it was confirmation.
Mhm.
So I don't think a lot of people are going to like that truth because that's what it is. It's a
It
truth
sounds
teller.
like there's some extension of because what you're saying, I think you're alluding to how some of our own sold
Mhm.
our own
Some of our
into
own
slavery.
sold our
Uh-huh.
own into slavery.
Uh-huh. And so even when we follow that
Mhm.
behavior right on into our present
Yeah.
system, there are some who still sell our own
Do we still sell our own?
in
Mhm.
many ways.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
yeah.
And but it was a such thing of women being able to be themselves, and in that village, they fought, they got paid, they were able to use their own voices, the whole nine. They didn't have to have babies, they didn't have to be married. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Yeah, and just to see how they basically, how we were traded for muskets.
Mhm.
We were traded for spices and things that they had over here in America that we didn't have in Africa. Vice versa.
Mhm.
And when they couldn't get enough of our blood diamonds and enough of, the nice, herbs and spices and every goddamn thing else that came from over there, then they started trading live cock,
Yeah.
us
Cargo. Yeah. Yeah.
for
Human cargo.
muskets, human cargo,
Mhm.
and so, like I said, y'all, this stuff been going on for a very long time.
Mhm.
And it started with us.
Mhm.
Okay. It started with us, and we were greedy people. You know what I'm saying? We were greedy fucking people. And that thing, that money is the root of all evil,
Mm. Or the lack of money.
or
Mm.
the lack of money. You would do anything.
Mm. And there's still people like that.
And there's still people like that. I mean, look at
No way.
today's politics.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Anything goes. Look at the young man who's now facing some trouble in the Bahamas.
Mm.
30 years old, and everything came crashing down with the digital, you know, money.
Mm, mm,
Uh-huh.
mm.
And he thought being in the Bahamas was going to
What's going on?
shield him.
Yeah.
But guess what? Not happening. He
Mm,
was
mm.
arrested and he's going to be uh, most likely brought back, you know. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just concerned about our kids. Yes, many are missing.
Mhm.
Many of them will be murdered.
Yeah.
We will never find some of them, and that's heartbreaking.
Mhm.
I'm concerned about the ones, all of them, but in particular, how many are running away? how many are being caught up in that sex traffic? I know that's your area
Yeah.
of,
The thing about it is
expertise.
that I got a whole bunch of new cases that came. I mean, I've been getting them for the past couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about four that, I have. They are currently missing young women, but, sex trafficking is on an all-time high.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. And it's in a situation where, you know, um, they are snatching our children off of the street. They're not just grooming our young girls, it's a grooming process, okay? When it comes to talking, working a young girl into sex trafficking. It's a grooming process.
Mhm. Are there any special schemes or scams that are prominent that we should be looking for?
Okay, I know a lot of you all know they have been putting this concoction on these napkins and putting them in the doors of women's vans and things and, car doors and things of that nature. And you touch it, put it in your face and it debilitates you, and they snatch you up.
Mm.
They snatch you up. So there's different things, and that's when you get into sex trafficking that's being forced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the scariest part out here, because these children, a lot of times they can see it coming, they have a chance to fight them off, things. I want to shout out the Atlanta chapter of the new Black Panther Party, because they have been teaching their young people how to get out of situations like that. So they got the girls going to self-defense classes, and they're teaching them doing the little field tests, where they're showing them how to get out of certain situations when somebody come up behind them, all kinds of things. The fact of paying attention to your surroundings, because you have to. That's just like Halloween just passed. I do a campaign every Halloween, and I tell them, I say, you need to, basically download a app, a sex offenders app. I had my parents doing that because I felt that that was very important. Download that sex offenders app, and you will be able to know where your child is going.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we're knocking on sex offenders' doors. We don't even know. We knocking on people's doors and in their neighborhoods. And that thing about the sex trafficker is not supposed to be around the school and all of that other shit. That is a lie.
Mm.
I look at the trafficking, I mean, not sex trafficking, sexual predators,
Yeah, the
every
registries.
day.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on the registries
Yeah,
and all of that.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised of how many is just in my neighborhood alone.
Oh yeah,
It was red dots all, and this is, and I school.
close to school.
Yeah,
Rec
close to
centers.
school. Rex, they're not even supposed to be there.
No.
But there just goes to show, when it comes to the oversight, lack thereof oversight, it's in many areas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And some of the justification, because I've been in some community meetings, and I know you'll back me up on this. Well, we want the person to come back to his or her own neighborhood. Well, you're supposed to have a balancing of interest there. Do
Yeah.
we bring this sex offender back because it's their neighborhood, or do we care about the neighborhood school?
That's there,
You
exactly.
see what I
And
mean?
the children, the
Yeah,
people
yeah,
that's in it.
yeah.
You know, they don't think that far down.
Yeah, but
And then we have the situation where a lot of them are not even registering.
right.
So just think about, is if we have 50 registered sex offenders in Capitol Heights, just imagine how many are not.
Mm-hmm.
And they is no oversight done. So they basically, the only way that you're going to find out that this person is a registered sex offender is that they do something bad. rape another child or kill somebody, and then all of the dirty laundry come out. Oh, well, he was a registered sex offender. Blah 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 blah. That's when everything start coming out.
That reminds me of what just happened in Loudoun County.
Mm-hmm.
The youngster,
Mm-hmm.
talking about somebody who was what, 14 or 15, and he sexually assaulted one girl in one school, 15-year-old, and they had a little cover up and whatever. And what did they do? They sent him to another school, and he molested somebody or sexually assaulted somebody in that school. Now, the parents in Loudoun County said, we're not having this. And they kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. So the superintendent, I think just last week, was let go.
Let go.
Uh-huh. But now look what happened yesterday. Indicted.
Indicted. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, now that's what you
That's
can
what
do
I'm saying.
when
Closed mouth don't get
no,
fed.
no.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah.
and now let's look at Loudoun County, one of the most affluent counties in America. You know, we like to get hung up on that affluent county thing, you know, because right where we're sitting, this is an affluent county. But see, I don't hear the noise.
Exactly.
You see, those parents said, we want this, and they're so happy about those indictments. And wait a minute, what was really great is the spokesperson for the school system was also indicted because he participated in helping the superintendent lie.
Good God Almighty.
They don't play in the Commonwealth now.
Mm,
The Commonwealth is not playing. Hmm.
I
Yeah,
wish they
that's
felt
Loudoun
like that.
County.
I wish they
Loudoun
felt like that in Montgomery County, but we're going to get on that.
and DC.
In
You know,
DC.
I mean, but that's what happens. Those parents got together. They kept going to the school board meetings. They were disruptive.
Yeah.
You know, quiet now. They didn't sit back and holler out cuss words, but you know, they got up to that microphone
Some of
and
them
they.
did, Miss
But yeah,
Nada.
but I'm just saying that wasn't the only. But oh yeah,
Yeah, some of them
and they
did.
weren't us either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, but people
Yeah.
were getting angry
Mm-hmm.
because there was a cover up.
Yeah.
You know, and see when they let that man go last week, I want you to know that a part of that letting him go involved him being paid for another year.
For another year. See?
But then yesterday, the indictment, I'm anxious to see how that's going to play against him being compensated for a year, if there's going to be some change in that.
Yeah. He shouldn't be able to get a damn thing.
Well, most
If
people, when
they're
they're terminated, don't.
you know,
Yeah.
you were asking about, the sex trafficking situation too. Like I said, there's forceful, and then there is the grooming process. And that's more scarier than anything, you know.
And how do
That's
they begin it? Do they find somebody at a school? Do they hang
See,
out? Do
this
they
is
send out
this is
people
the
to be
thing. No,
killed?
this
You know how?
sometimes it does when you have like R. Kelly. R. Kelly, he had his entourage going to different schools and getting these young girls, and
Mhm.
but then we have these a sex trafficker, a pimp. They their breeding grounds are social media. Okay, their breeding grounds are social media, places where young girls like to go, nail shops, the mall, things of that nature. Okay, that's the breeding ground. And you know how kids are. Kids put all of their business on social media. These people know when you're mad at your parents. They know when you don't have a parent. They know when your daddy done pissed you off, and they know everything. And we have groomers. That's their job, to sit and skim through social media to see, who's going to be the lucky one, who's not feeling so good about themselves, who's, might not have the decent clothes or the nice shoes, who is the loner. Okay, that person that nobody wants to talk to, nobody wants to be friends with. They look for that type of stuff.
I'm thinking about a case that I believe was out here in Prince George's County. A young man befriended young people, gave them telephones, clothes. Do you remember that case? You know, and I was thinking, if I'm a parent and my child comes home with a cell phone that I know I didn't buy. What
We don't
well, I
have
mean,
those
what
type of
happens?
parents anymore.
And or clothes that I know
Yeah,
that
we don't have
you
those
know what I
type of
mean?
parents
Yeah,
anymore.
okay.
That's why sex trafficking is on an all-time high.
Okay.
Okay, we had a situation that happened back in Georgia. This was a white promoter.
Mhm.
He was a person that promoted these shows when the stars came to town. Okay,
Okay.
he used to lure girls, young girls, black girls. He would give them tickets, to these shows. He would give them money, give them weed, and a couple of these girls, he was accused, allegedly infected over 600 black women and girls with HIV. Okay. Not only was he arrested and indicted, it was some of the children's parents because they knew what was going on. They were
I'm
basically
saying,
pimping their
how
children
did they
out.
not know?
Yeah, they know what's going on. A lot of times they know what's going on.
And see, that's what I was thinking about this particular case. This guy worked at I think maybe a library out here
Mhm.
somewhere or in places like that, and went to one of the popular churches out
Mhm.
here, and I was just amazed that these were not cheap clothes he was buying these kids,
Yeah.
and but the telephone thing just really
Mhm.
put it over the top. And so my child comes home with all these new clothes and a telephone, and I'm not asking questions.
No,
See,
most
there's
of them are not.
culpability there
Mhm.
on the parents' part, and that's what I'm talking about, owning things and being what
Yeah,
you're
a lot
talking
of
about.
yeah, a lot of them don't. And you have these situations, they get this young girl, they see this young girl, she's a loner, she's out. Like I said, she might not be feeling good about herself,
Mhm,
that low self-esteem,
mhm,
might been called ugly, told she was ugly, not having, no good relationship with the parents, all of that. And they get them and they make them feel like they are special.
mhm.
They give them the things that they need, where they in their little young minds think that they need.
Right.
Because if you got somebody, you like to get your nails done, you like to get your little feet done, and
Mhm,
you like these little nice little purses and outfits and all of this stuff, they're going to supply you with all of that. But then it's going to come to a point where you just spent a lot of money. And
mhm,
so you're going to have to get out here and you're going to have to help us maintain to be able to keep this stuff going. And see, this is how they talking to them. They tell them,
mhm,
you want to be able to go, out and to a nice restaurant. You want to be able to, get your nails done and have these nice clothes. And I'm gonna get you a car. I had interviewed a young lady who was a victim of sex trafficking. She actually, I'm not going to say she was a victim because she seeked the pimp. She seeked the sex trafficker. She was doing it herself, living right over there in Northeast DC, trying to take care of her child, everything,
mhm,
all of that. And went out seeking. She thought that she needed protection. She thought that if she had this man, he can get her more dates. He can
mhm.
protect her and,
Yeah,
you know, and so
promote
she
her.
promoted her. So she went, and this is a grown woman, and she went and she seeked this man, and he had her out here, and he told her, like they always tell you, okay, you make a certain amount of money, I'm gonna get you a car.
Mhm,
She said she had made that man so much money. When it came, he bought him a new car.
mhm.
Okay. Not only that, he moved himself right into her government assisted housing
Oh,
that we helped her get. Okay. And
mhm,
everything else. She called me on the phone because I hadn't heard from her in a while. She called me on the phone. She said, Black, she said, this man, my sex trafficker, he's in my house. He won't leave. This, that, and the third. She had left her house, went to her family's house. Oh, I made one phone call. New Black Panther Party, Mr. Steve Mohammed, I need your help. He went right on over there, got that motherfucker out of there, changed the locks, and she was able to come back in her house. See, I don't play those type of games. I called them on the phone. She gave me the number, and I told him, look, sir,
Mhm.
you got 20, 30 minutes to get your shit and get out of her house. Point blank, period. If you don't, like I said, 20 or 30 minutes, you might have less than that. So you need to be gone from her house.
Mhm.
Oh, he talked all that shit, hung the phone up for me, on me. Next thing I know, I get a phone call, they there. They done bust the damn door open, everything. Went through his ass out of there,
Mhm.
changed her locks, and she was able to come back to her house.
Mhm.
But then come to find out, she had got pregnant by this man.
Oh no.
So once she had that baby,
Mm.
this motherfucking man was coming and he was taking that baby. And he didn't want the baby for real. He wanted to hurt her
Yeah,
or either
leverage.
keep her to, or either keep that baby and probably turn that baby into the same thing he turned her into. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
He would dangle that baby, have her, had that baby on social media, that baby screaming and hollering and crying for her mother.
Mm.
And he was just terrorizing.
Mm.
And DC's laws are so messed up.
Right.
They basically told her that it was nothing that they can do.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because you'd be surprised what kind of access and rights people
Mm-hmm.
assert to have access to their children. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and especially, and you know this from domestic violence, you
Yeah.
can beat the woman or whatever, but if you've never beat the child, you may have some kind of supervised visitation.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends, you know.
Just
No, yeah,
depends.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I just know that you showed me some missing children today who haven't
Mm-hmm.
been missing for very long. You know,
No.
this is such, they're real fresh.
Mm-hmm. I get a lot of fresh cases
Mhm.
every single day because the when I say every 40 seconds a child is reported missing, it's a fact, y'all.
Mhm.
Every 40 seconds a child is reported missing. We have had this year over 600,000 reported missing person cases
Oof.
this year. 4,400 people, unidentified people, have been found on the highways, byways, and everything else. This is a every year process,
Mm.
according to NAMUS. Okay, so and children go missing for different reasons. Like I tell people all the time, instead of labeling these children as runaways, find out what they're running away from
Mhm.
and what they're running to.
Mhm.
You'll be surprised. We had Jolie Musar. I was just watching her story. That was a case that I worked on a couple of years ago, 2018, I want to say 19.
Mhm.
This was a young girl out in Virginia, Fairfax,
Mhm.
and twin in there, doing her sister hair, stepped out on the porch. Um, and they basically said, that they labeled her a runaway. Well, guess what? A week later, they found her under a bunch of bushes and brush where her boyfriend murdered her, strangled her to death.
Mhm.
He's doing time in prison right now, but I said a lot of times, we use that word runaway so loosely.
Right.
Trust and believe me, these children are not running away. They might be running away. Ask them what they're running away from.
Yeah.
Ask them who got because it's always something behind it. That's the scary part about it. We don't look that deep.
Mhm.
If you put runaway on a child, you should be worried because you don't know what that person running to or what they running from.
Right. And let's say there's some other young people in the home.
Mm-hmm.
They're in that same
The
environment
same environment. Mm-hmm.
and just maybe not old enough to run or
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So it's, this picture when it comes to missing persons and everything, it's just a lot to be done. We have covered a lot. We have did a lot of groundbreaking things. Like when I go into the convenience stores and I can see the children flyers, flashing on the Maryland lottery, little boards and things. I know where that came from. But I know that there still is a lot of work to be done. There's no case that's the same. Okay? No case is the same.
Right.
And some of us think that we still have to wait 24 hours to report a child missing. I just got a case last week where it took the family 2 weeks to report that child missing.
That
Okay?
that raises a lot of questions in
That
my
raises
mind.
a lot of questions.
In my
And
mind.
but just a lot of times in those situations, I had one situation where it was the father responsible. I mean, I've heard a lot of different stories like that, but I have had one personal case like that where the father was responsible. But a lot of times, you know, it's a mess. And so there's just a lot of work to be done. um these beautiful young ladies right here, um right here, y'all. Okay, these are just 4 cases that I have gotten from the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. um I wanted to bring them in here today. I had a whole list of them, but it ain't that much time in one day. Know what I'm saying, to talk about all these cases, because I have cases that I just added to the NamUs database. NamUs is a database, it's a clearinghouse, and I'm gonna keep talking, because this is a resource for our families in the missing and murdered community. This is a government resource and it is free. Okay, it is no time limit on when you have to file when it comes to NamUs. NamUs is a clearinghouse where they have the DNA profiles of missing people, okay, of the families of missing people. Because we find 4,400 bodies a year, 1,000 of them, over 1,000 of them go unidentified. NamUs is a clearinghouse where if I get if I have a case and they find a body, you know, advocates, we get a hit and they tell us, well, they're going to, identify, but we have some, a case that we done found the person where, this, it might be a little familiar with, the height and age and, things of that nature. So, all they ask for you to do for parents, family members of your missing loved one, you go to your police department, you ask your um investigator that's working on your case, or you can reach out to nameless.gov and they will send you the cup and the specimen sample thing where you can swab your mouth. They'll send you the envelope where you put that tube in there and you send it right back. So God forbid, and there's no time limit to it. A lot of people say, where, do we have to wait, 3 months? No, you don't. When it comes to a lot of parents, I have a lot of cases that I have, we as parents know our children. If you are a good parent, you're gonna know your child's routine. You're gonna know everything about them. So if one of my kids was to come up missing or some stuff like that, I'm gonna feel some kind of way about it. And I'm gonna know that it's something is wrong because of how close we are and because we have a routine. Even though they are adults, we still have a routine. And so we know. So if you feel like, that's just a resource, because a lot of times these police are not looking. I was so torn apart last week before Thanksgiving. I had talked to the investigator working on Felicia's case. He basically told me that's going to be a case that's going to slip through the cracks.
Oh no.
Okay.
Mm.
That's going to be a case that is going to slip through the cracks. And this is the homicide detective. Okay. Because Relisha does have a homicide detective and she also has missing person investigators. Her case is in both. Okay. So understand hearing that it just got my mind to go on what do I have, what is the next step? The next step for me, Ms. D, is making sure we have legislation put into place.
Yes.
That's all I can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to share these stories of our missing, get the stories out here. Make sure that I have a platform welcoming to the families in the missing and murder community where they can come and tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, we had Jalen Alexis Jones last week. And that story right there, her son reported missing. I remember sharing that flyer. I remember getting the updates where they had found that baby dead.
Mm.
I did not get into it because, like I said, my caseload is my cup is running over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I think I can do it all. In my mind, I want to tell the stories of our 75,000 missing Black girls and women.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call them that no more.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give them, I want you all to know their names. I want you all to know that they have families.
Mm-hmm.
I've shared cases older than me,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be surprised. People think that families forget. You might forget and move on to the next case and the next case and the next case, but that family is not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember sharing the case of a woman who had been missing since 1972.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 52 years old right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 70.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember putting that out there and her daughters, who she had, because she was 19 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened in Dale Valley, Texas. Okay. And well, it used to be called Dale Valley, Texas. Now it's Austin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Part of the city.
Mm-hmm. And so I remember sharing that Miss Pinky May Hearn. I remember sharing her case and her daughters reached out and thanked me for that.
Yep.
So understand people don't forget.
That's right. And they hold on to even just a glimmer of hope.
Mm-hmm. I have people reaching out to me on a daily and thanking me for shedding light on their missing person cases because I deal with a lot of cold cases. It might be cold to y'all, but it's not.
No,
It's not to
not
me.
not to the
It's
family.
not to those families.
Mm.
So I've always wanted to put a name to these 75,000 missing Black girls and women in counting.
And we have had people come forward years later
Mm-hmm.
after being reported missing,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they were really young at the time
Yeah.
of the uh, the time they became missing, and now they're grown and they're grateful. They said, I just thought, or they've seen the picture and they said,
Yeah.
that was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how many times that I had a young woman who was reported missing right out here in Temple Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a couple of years back. This was like at the actually 2020. The young lady name was Miss Shadane. And it was a situation where she had left her house to go confront her boyfriend. So, you know what we thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Something ain't right. This man that did something to her, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
I remember swinging into action, getting her picture, not only getting her picture out there, but getting a picture of the make and model of her car because when I do flyers, I don't like to put a whole bunch of pictures on it. It's a distraction. I tell people that all the time that be having those, because, and I see a lot of people have changed, because it used to, people, you would see the flyers, it would be 5, 6, 7, 8 damn pictures, and they ain't even looking the same.
Right.
Okay, but that is a distraction.
Yeah.
When we're
I can
looking
see
at
that.
pictures, I'm talking about like this baby face. She might have had 2 or 3 pictures, but the eyes, lips, nose, none of that changes.
Yeah, I was looking at the
You
one
can
here.
change the hair. So
Yeah.
if you got another picture up there, like say for instance, say if these was the same 2 pictures right here. Say if it's the same 2 people right here. Okay, same 2 people. This could have been, I mean, this could have been the same person, but look,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to tell.
But no, no, no.
Because if you see this child out in the street, she ain't gonna be looking like this, or like this, or like this.
Mm.
So there's different things, like I had to learn how to, I had to come up with my way of doing stuff that I thought that, would save a lot of time. Like I said, all of those different pictures is just distraction. Okay. I don't share flyers that don't have case numbers.
Mm.
Okay. Because if you don't have a case number, then it hasn't been reported
No. Mm.
a lot of times. And I have had family say, well, I done reached out to the police and they didn't, they told me they weren't going to take the case and this, that, and they ain't do nothing, this, that, and the third. And I done had to go and, oh, yes, you are. You know what I'm saying, on a situation like that, because they will tell them certain things, especially when they think that you don't know.
Mm.
I'll give it a couple of more hours, this, that, and the third. You don't have to give it a couple of more hours. If your child is supposed to be home at 3:36
Mm-hmm.
and it's 3:37 and that child ain't got the fuck home yet, you can call the police. Because time is everything.
Oh, exactly.
Time is everything. In 2 hours, your child can be in a whole nother state. In 24 hours, your child can be in a whole nother country.
Even in 2 hours, depending on where you are.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your child can be in a whole nother country. So time is everything. Each minute is very is valuable time that's being wasted. So you have to swing it whenever. Don't second guess yourself. When you're a parent that knows your child, never second guess yourself.
Right.
Because then you're going to feel some kind of way if you had just reacted in a nick of time. You could have saved your child's life. Because trust and believe me, you're going to hear the gory details when you go to the court.
Oh God.
When you go through that court process and all of that stuff, you're going to hear the gory details. You're going to hear what blow killed your loved one, what bullet it with it exit wounds, and you're going to hear all of that.
Molestation.
Molestation. You're going to hear all of the gory details. Anything that you can do to save your loved one's life, do it. Never second guess. Never second guess. And time is everything, because it is a fact that every 40 seconds a child goes missing. I've had these on my page. I will be adding them to TikTok. This is Shanisha Warren. She was reported missing December the 10th, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Okay. She is 16 years of age, black female, brown hair color, brown eyes, 5'4", 161 pounds. Shanicia was last seen in the Virginia Beach area. Okay, December the 10th. Okay, and she has not been seen since. If you have any information on this case, please contact the Virginia Beach Police at 757 385 5000. Okay, if you have any information on the whereabouts of Shanisha Bourne. Okay, and that's coming out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm going to have these posted, like I said, on all of my social media platforms. They will be posted. I will keep you all updated, like I always do, on whether these children are found or not. Let's pray for a safe return for all of our missing babies. Okay, the second one that I have. This is coming out of mm, Richmond, Virginia.
Mm.
Okay. And by the way, while I'm talking about Virginia, Virginia has a lot of missing persons, young children missing. A lot of them don't even have pictures.
Oh.
Okay, and a lot of people always ask me that because I do take time out and I share stories, cases without pictures, and a lot of times I don't know why they don't have a picture. I know that a lot of times when law enforcement agencies are involved, they put out what they have. A lot of times they don't have access to a picture. Sometimes these children are coming from foster care situations, things of that nature. You would think that they would have a picture. I have saw some pictures, mug shots, of young children, where you could tell that they were in the custody of Children and Family Services, where they just took a little picture down, things of that nature. But I share stories without pictures. I can't tell you why some of them don't have pictures. They're just a lot of times they're not available. Not even it's not because people always say, well, the police just ain't put it up. No, if the police had a picture of a missing person, they would put it up.
Do they ever do those composite sketches?
A lot of times when we have situations like Relisha, when you have a situation where a child has been or a person has been missing for a very long time, they do the age progression
Okay.
photos of how they might look because it's always a possibility. Like just like in some states, they say, well, after 8 years, they can determine whether you did or not. They will, legally say by law, they can legally say, well, this person is most likely dead than alive.
So they declare them dead.
Just so they can declare them dead. Now, people ask me, why does that happen? Because only in a situation where there's a natural disaster or something like that can they, you know, do it right way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
With a missing persons case, they have to wait wait a while. 8 years.
Sure.
We have came up on the 8 years of Relisha, by the way, and it's a lot of stuff centered around that. I don't even want to talk about it right now. It angers me to the point, but this is Kadia Yardley Young, and she's missing from Richmond, Virginia. She was last seen December the 10th, 2022, Richmond, Virginia. She's 14 years of age. Okay. Female, black, black hair, brown eyes, 5'2", 126 pounds. Okay. If you have any information, here's a picture. If you have any information on Kadia's whereabouts, please contact the Richmond Police Department, Richmond County, at 804 646 5100. Okay? If you have any information on this child's whereabouts, okay? And we're going to pray that this baby makes it home safe and sound. I pray that all of these babies make it home safe and sound. You want to do one, Mr.
All
Nard?
right. This beautiful young woman is Nicole Almond Dean, and she's missing from Long Beach, California.
Mhm.
Missing since December 9th, and she's 17 years old.
17 years.
She is 17 years old. She is black. She has black hair, brown eyes. She's 5'6", weight 150 pounds.
Mhm.
And that's one picture. And then on this smaller one, there are two pictures of her. And she was last seen on just December 9th, last week.
Just last week.
Just last week.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're just hopeful that someone will see her and report her seeing her. She's there in California. Nicole Allman, and that's Allman hyphenated Dean, Dean. Yeah,
And I have one more. This beautiful young lady. Show y'all the picture.
they're all beautiful.
All of
All
them.
of them are beautiful.
Beautiful young lady that's missing. Okay, and her name is Avante Evans. She was been missing last seen um December the 9th, 2022, Portsmouth, Virginia.
Portsmouth, Virginia.
Yeah, all four of these
That's
cases are
Tidewater.
coming from
That's
out of
Tidewater.
Virginia.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Tidewater.
all of them are coming from out of Virginia area. Female, black, brown hair, black eyes. Okay. She's 5'6" and 166 pounds. If you have any information on Avanta Evans' whereabouts, please contact the Portsmouth Police Department, 757 393 8737. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to be putting all of these cases on all of my social media platforms. I'm going to also keep y'all updated on when they're found. I'm very hopeful that these four young ladies are found safe and sound.
You know what's interesting about these that you've pulled up?
Mm-hmm.
These are all in heavily military areas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even Long Beach, this one in Long Beach, that's, I think, Navy is out there heavily. But in Virginia Beach and Portsmouth, the Tidewater area, and Richmond, heavy. Um, and I say that not to point at it being a military issue, but the security level in those places is higher, you know, because you have an added police presence there. Okay, you have military police, you have, just in high security areas, homeland security type situations. So
It's always a
yeah,
lot of children missing
it-
from that area.
it's
Yeah,
kind of, I
it's
was
a
just
lot
thinking
of
now that's a high security area.
yeah,
I'm
it's a
just saying.
lot of children missing from that area. Hampton, Virginia, Richmond,
Yeah,
Newport
yeah,
News.
Newport News, that's
I
all
get a lot of
Tidewater.
cases from there, and I never understood why. Why you think that's so?
I'm not able to really address that because it's confounding because you would think in those kinds of areas, I mean, we should never assume, but that the security level in those areas, would be a bit higher.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And for
yeah.
for people to be able to just disappear in those kinds of situations would seem to be a little more challenging, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's one of them situations. It's like I say, when it's us, they show minimum to no concern. I would never understand that. Right now, according to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there are 660 missing Black girls right now. And those are the ones that have been, police reports, missing persons reports have been done for, stored in their database. And this is just from Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Mm.
I see a lot of familiar faces a lot of times, you know.
You're so hands-on with
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I see a lot of familiar faces, and I always ask the question, why is this child, constantly running away? Haven't they fixed anything? You know what I'm saying? As of yet, have they did anything, to fix this child, offered resources and things for this baby, why she keep, being missing, and so it just lets me know that there's not a lot of I call them the aftermath programs that's available for these children that is constant running away and things of that nature, because I have had several cases where it hasn't turned out so good,
Mm-hmm.
after the fourth and the fifth runaway. I had one young woman that was found murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes when you in situations like that, it usually take when and I've heard, from talking to people who deal with people who are in young girls in sex trafficking situation, it usually take them about 3 or 4 times to, run and before they get it out of their system.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't make it back that fifth time or the first, so I'm saying all of this to say, y'all, please continue to share these stories of our missing. Let's help these families get closure. Um, not We're not going to wait until this god awful thing happened to you. Don't think that it can't happen to you. Don't think that you're exempt from this. Teach your children better. Make sure that they're mindful of their surroundings. Make sure you're mindful of some of the things that they're doing and where they're going.
I was going to ask you about proactive things we could do. Um, I know one thing, when children get to be a dating age,
Mm-hmm.
um, do we make sure we know uh, with whom our child is,
Yes.
I mean, just knowing who my child is dating, or, you
should
just know what I
have
mean? Yeah.
Your child should not, if you have a kid that's still living in your house, your child should not be able to walk in and out of there and tell you, I'm going to go hang out with Tommy,
Mm.
and you never fucking met Tommy.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on a previous broadcast, oh, some years ago, and I'm ashamed to say, I can't remember how many years, but I was pretty young myself. So, and these young ladies, I think they were cousins, or they were related. There were three of them, I think at least three or four of the girls. And anyway, some guys were coming to pick them up, and their moms were actually in the house. Two of their moms were in the house, and somebody just blew the horn, and they all, oh, here they are, and that's the last they saw of those
Yeah.
girls. They just went out, and you see, I was never allowed to just go out because somebody
And
blew
I
the horn.
wasn't even every chance that and when I tried it, I got punished for it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I grew up in Southeast Berry Farms, and you would think, people are so quick. Oh, she grew up in the ghetto, this, that, and the third. But I didn't have ghetto values.
No, no, no.
I didn't have ghetto values,
Mhm.
project values. I wasn't taught that way.
Mhm.
We had home cooked meals. We had people. I don't give a damn if they was getting drunk, had been getting drunk and high all night. They got up in the morning and made sure we ate, made sure we got out to school. And I didn't try my mother
No.
or my grandmother. No.
I remember a young man blew the horn for me,
Mm-hmm.
and my father was sitting in the chair by the door. And he looked at me like, I know you're not gonna move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Mhm.
Okay. And the guy kept blowing and blowing. He was making some music out there. And so finally, the doorbell rang. Okay, and a knock, a doorbell and a knock. And my father said, "Come on in, sit, have a seat."
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't
you know,
play that with
yeah,
my kids.
and
Like,
and then 50 questions. You know, I mean,
yeah.
maybe not 50, but there were quite a few.
I
There
know
were
girlfriends and the boyfriends and the friends that they hung around with, and even the parents,
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
I'm not going to let my child go play PlayStation at somebody's house and I don't know who the hell he's where he's going.
or do
We're not
or
doing
do
that.
overnights.
Yeah, we're not doing
No,
that.
with
We're not
pajama
doing that.
parties and all that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no,
Mm-mm.
no,
I protected my
no,
children. They are mine. I did not, because I know how ugly this world can be.
no. Hmm.
I want, and kids are so, they all over the place.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. And they're still doing this.
They don't know.
And so you really don't know people. You say, I know so. Well,
No, you
do you
don't. No,
really
you
know? No,
don't.
no.
Because look at the Shaquilla Robinson
Oh,
situation.
Lord.
It's so many different damn situations we can say. Look at this situation. Look at, you have two people. You have too many things that you can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Without, if too many people have made, it's people that have made mistakes.
Yeah.
That's how I learned a lot of my shit from. That's what my mother used to say. Girl, you ain't got to make no mistakes. You can learn from what I've. You know what I'm saying?
And then we're quick to say, well, it's a new day. Well,
Mhm.
some truths are timeless.
Mhm.
There are things we have called timeless truths.
Mhm.
And in our community, when our young people are socializing with other young, and that's important, but we need to know who their associates are.
Right.
There's nothing old fogey about that.
Mm.
That's just good common sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I represented a couple of people, and in those cases, when we're talking about custody, uh, okay, who are some of your children's friends? How do you know you want to have custody? And I had a case. I represented the mother in the case. Very professional woman. The father was a very professional person, but the father was clearly the person best able to have custody.
Right.
I had to talk to my client, and she came to understand it. And what made me come to that understanding with her, when she told me, she said, "Well, I know that they have some friends in our neighborhood, but she didn't know their last names, and she had never met the parents. But the children had stayed at that other person's home,
Right.
and that bothered me. That bothered me. Now, her husband knew all the names,
Mm, mm, mm.
you know. See, and the children were of an age. When children get up to a certain age, they can say, "I'd rather live with," and the court listens when they get to a certain age. And both of these children said, "We want to stay with our father." So there it was.
Wow.
There it was.
Mm, mm, mm.
Mhm. So, but we have to know where our children are going and with whom.
That's right. It's very
Hmm.
important.
Hmm.
We don't live in the times in which I didn't live in the times where you live in, the times you
Hmm.
lived in.
Hmm. Right.
Things might have been a little safer.
Hmm.
Then, things might have been a little tad bit safer for me than what it is for my children.
Hmm.
I tell them, and my grandchildren, vice versa, my grandchildren, and I tell them, you have to be mindful of things. Like, I remember I used to let them get on the bus and go to the movies.
Hmm.
It was a one bus there, one bus back.
Hmm.
And I wish the hell, if I had children, I wouldn't even think about it.
Hmm.
I wouldn't even think about it.
Hmm.
A lot of things that I used to, before I really, really knew what was going on, you know, I used to, I thank God
Hmm.
that I got past that
Hmm.
when I didn't know no better.
Hmm.
I sit back right now and I think I make it even harder on my grandchildren, my children, with my grandchildren. And I have to tell them all the time, be mindful. Remember, things are not the same,
Mhm.
and so y'all have to. It is demons out here. It is people out here that is here and it's in this world just the purpose to get a hold to
Mhm.
these beautiful
Oh, they're
babies.
all so beautiful. Look at them.
Hmm.
Look, see the
Yeah,
commonality there.
yeah. Look,
Look at their eyes, the life in their eyes,
look.
Yeah.
And it's a hurtful thing, y'all. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back with some
Okay.
DC politics.
Uh-huh. And in there, Montgomery.
And a little PG, yes indeed.
Look, less than half of Montgomery.
Less than half.
Mm,
We are back, y'all, and we are getting ready to get into some, I'm gonna say DMV politics, okay?
yeah,
School situations. It's a lot going on, y'all, and y'all know how we bring it to y'all on Black Rose Garden Raw with no scholarship. You know what I'm saying? Raw with no scholarship because that's just how it needs to be told.
hmm.
Mr. Nada.
Well,
Is kindergarten less than half of Montgomery counties and Prince George's County kindergartens were not ready for kindergarten.
yeah,
Child.
kindergartners. And what blew me about this was it says Montgomery and Prince George's County. Okay. Now let's go back in time a little bit. You know, Montgomery County schools have always been like at the pinnacle in the state of Maryland.
Right.
They prided themselves on being at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're no longer at the top. That would be Howard County now. Uh-huh. Like Ellicott City and over that way.
Right.
So, and then there was always a race with Montgomery County, Maryland, and Fairfax County, Virginia schools racing to be the top public school systems among the top in the country. You know, every year when U.S. News and World Report would put out that, you know, the top high schools in America and that kind of thing, Montgomery County, Maryland, and Fairfax County, Virginia were always well represented
Right.
in that. Every
Right.
every year, you know. And so, uh, where does the good education start? Well, we now know that a good background starts with kindergarten. Or even before kindergarten, you know, there's preschool, you know, the 3 and 4 year olds, and kindergarten is usually 4 and 5. Okay, now less than half of Montgomery and Prince George's County kindergartners were ready for school last year. Now, while it is true that this takes into account the pandemic period, there was already an issue before the pandemic. Let's go there. You know, okay. I mean, you know, everybody held the pandemic, girl. You got the pandemic. No, that's what's wrong with these children. The
The
pandemic.
pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, which pandemic are we talking about?
Okay.
Okay, now which one are we talking? The pandemic of neglect
Mm-hmm.
or the COVID pandemic? And so, and I was looking at, they have this thing called Kindergarten Readiness Assessment, KRA, and it's carried out at, they said, at the start of the school year by teachers who evaluate their students. And they're looking at their skills in 4 categories: math, social foundations, physical well-being, and motor development. Wow. Statewide, 45% of girls were ready compared to 35% of boys. You see, we go into
Yeah.
that deficit with
Yeah.
young boys. You see what I'm saying to you? In PG County, 28% of 9,676 kindergartners were deemed ready compared to 46% of 10,577 kindergartners in Montgomery County. See that deficit there between the two counties?
Wow.
Statewide, 40% of students enter school fully ready. That marks a drop of 7% among all three from fall of 2019. So that's a big drop. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a big
That's a
drop.
lot.
That's a lot, you know. So, what to do? What are we going to do? And it says a quarter fewer kids in Maryland attended pre-kindergarten last year. So that was that the pre-kindergarten that gets you ready for kindergarten.
Right.
You know, that was down. And I'm not sure a lot of people know this, but in Maryland, you can have pre-kindergarten in private homes. You know, the people can be certified to do that. You know,
Right.
and there are some very good ones, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, in PG County. I know because one of my relatives had one, and her waiting list was huge because she was known to have that top-notch uh, pre-kindergarten program in her home. She got the highest marks you can get. And so now, when a child doesn't have readiness for kindergarten, and you can't go into kindergarten and perform well, then that puts that child at a deficit already, because they do some reading in
Right.
kindergarten, and that kind of thing. I mean, when you have a good kindergarten program. Now, that means they won't be ready for first grade. So now they're starting from behind. And what's interesting is how they broke this down racially. Well, the white children were ahead in every category, and Hispanic and Black children lagged behind. Yeah. Okay, same old, same old. But really, what really made me look at this very closely is now we have Montgomery County in the mix. Yeah. We have
Well, it's
Montgomery
falling
County.
apart,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's been falling apart. They just put so many emphasis on it, like it's.
yeah. Well, and then they went on to say something about children with disabilities. Oh,
Mm.
so that was really an issue,
Mm-hmm.
that the children with disabilities were even further behind.
And I know that for a fact
Okay.
because, yeah, I
Okay.
have, yeah. I just feel like during the time that my daughter was in school and stuff, it was some kids that shouldn't have even been passed. It was social promotion, even when it comes to a child that has a IEP.
Mhm. Well, tell people what
Mm-hmm.
IEP means. A special plan,
Right.
and
Yeah.
individual education
Education
plan.
plan.
Yeah. And everybody's entitled to one.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to one. And do not let the school system dismiss you when you ask for it. You have to be an active advocate for your child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, there's a protocol and so forth, but be insistent on getting that put into place. Now, the last thing I want to say about this is they said simply returning to normal will but not be good enough to recover and accelerate student learning coming out of the pandemic. Well, guess what? Returning to normal is not real.
It's not real.
Okay, let's
One
just,
hundred. Let's keep it 100. It's
what
not.
does that mean? There is a new reality.
That's right.
Let's go there.
Let's go there.
You
That's
know,
right.
stop talking to people like they're stupid. There is no returning to normal. There is a new normal.
Normal.
Okay. And the people who can least afford to get that twisted are people of color
Okay.
and poor people. And the two are not always the same.
Not the same.
Okay. Because PG County is an affluent place, as well as Montgomery County. Now, there are pockets of poverty in both counties. Now, most people don't even think of Montgomery County as having pockets of poverty, but they do.
But they do. That's right.
And that poverty is severe.
Hmm.
Okay, that
And they
poverty
got
is,
crime too.
and they have crime.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, yes,
That's
yes, yes.
right. So don't think. I mean, they got brutal crime.
Well, just what, a week ago, in a gas station, didn't someone get murdered up there on New Hampshire Avenue? And
Yeah.
isn't that Montgomery
That's
County?
Montgomery
That's
County.
Silver
That's
Spring.
right.
And then when they went across the street, didn't they find somebody
Somebody.
in there who was 8 months pregnant? I'm
Yeah.
just saying, there
Dismembered or
is,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yes.
Well, so I'm concerned about that. So if you're in Montgomery or Prince George's County or anywhere, really, this is the article's just about those two. But trust and believe this is an issue in the district and over in the Commonwealth as well, because we are opening up and we're going back uh, to more in-person activities, after school activities. I realize that, but be mindful that children are now over 2 years deficit, in a deficit situation because school has been closed and the virtual learning was not effective. it was not effective for most children. And they said most children of color did not do well in virtual learning situations. Some of them didn't even have continued access
Right.
in virtual learning situations. So, because they may have lived in a building where internet service was poor to non-existent. So having a laptop and no service was of no moment. Okay. Well, as many of you know, I love DC politics. And okay. So the DC Board of Elections tossed out the campaign finance complaint against Elissa Silverman. It was tossed out, you know. It was brought, said that she had
So
paid for some services out of her fund, you know, her campaign fund, and it wasn't proper. And someone running in the campaign filed a complaint. I think it was Mr. Marshall. And so it didn't go, it went to a level where it probably cost her her seat.
wow.
That's part of the reason
And
that
that's
she
as
didn't
far as
win.
it went.
And that's as far as it went. But that was mission accomplished because that was the whole
That was the whole plan.
purpose of the plan to get rid of her by filing that. Yeah. And so in August, it was at-large independent candidate Kareem Marshall who filed the complaint. And it ended up helping Mr. McDuffie get that independent seat. Even though, you know, he was a Democrat before, he did win the independent seat. So mission accomplished. Now she's in the process of doing countdown with her committee on labor and workforce. And she
What's
has,
countdown?
well, I mean,
Oh, to her
finish her
leave.
term, yeah, finish her term
Countdown to the leave.
to the end.
Yeah, to the
And she has promised, she has made some promises already. Of course, we knew that, didn't we? That she knows a lot about what has gone on. And she's coming back in some capacity to challenge her former uh, cohorts.
Oh, so she
Okay,
coming back.
she's coming back to challenge, you know. I mean, she can now she can be a lobbyist, or you know, or she can just be a challenger, come do testimony and with force, because she'll know a lot about what has happened or not happened, as it were. She was on the she was on the housing committee. And you remember in the end, in her campaign, she said, "We haven't been vigilant. We haven't done oversight." So we kind of have a glimpse of where she'll probably go with her challenge to these.
Oh, she gonna get him
Oh,
though.
oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. And she knows a lot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that happening, Mr. Nada.
And keep in mind, she was the chairperson of redistricting.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
See, we talk about somebody who could be loaded for bear here.
Okay.
Yeah, she was the chairperson. And on that committee was also Miss Bonds and Christine Henderson. Three ladies, all at large, and two independents, because Henderson is an independent, Christine. And so she was the chairperson of that. She sat on the housing committee, okay, and she sat on the Human Services Committee, and she was the chairperson of the Workforce Labor Development Committee.
Wow.
So, but that chairing the redistricting committee, watch what happens after the first of the year. See, so yes, they knocked her off the council, but she's going to be back to challenge all of them on various.
She's probably gonna be their worst nightmare because I
Yeah.
know the hell I would be.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a little bit, well, it's not exactly the same, but uh, I laughed when Mayor Barry became a council member. Now, they couldn't fool him. They could not fool him on that. You know, he knew the budget inside out. I mean, the I had a saying. There are 13 people on the council. One Marion Barry was greater than 12 of the others.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm just whatever people think of him or thought of him personally, the man was brilliant.
He was brilliant.
Okay.
Mr. Barry sure was.
Okay. Now, this evening at 5
So
o'clock,
missed.
this evening at 5 o'clock, there is a meeting about renaming Good Hope Road to Marion Barry.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, this evening at 5 o'clock, everybody. You can contact Councilmember White's office to get the details about how to join the meeting. Okay. And let me just put this in historical perspective. Yes, he should have a street named after
Yes, he
him,
did.
and a few other things. Okay. Yes, he did have some personal issues, some personal, and we all do.
That's right.
And we all do.
And we all do.
And we all
That's
do.
right.
But I know this: he didn't steal money.
Okay.
Let's just take it right there. All right. And how many people have you heard say he gave me my first job?
Okay.
He raised up a group of voters.
That's
All
right.
right.
That's
That
right.
was a brilliant thing he
Brilliant
did.
man.
He
That's
did.
right.
Okay. Yeah. Now, his very first, now you can write this down and please, what do I always say? Check it out. Don't take my word for it. Get those $2,000 phones out. And you know that you make payments on, and don't forget to make the payment. Okay, and look this up. In his first run for mayor, that very first run, I was with him. It was in 78. No, 78, 82, 86, those first 3 terms. Okay. In that first term, there was a three-way primary. Sterling Tucker, Marion Barry, and Mayor Washington. And they tried to get Marion Barry to drop out. They tried to get him to drop out. They did what I call, they tried to do a midnight massacre meeting to get him to drop out. He didn't do it. Now, look this up, people. It was a three-way primary, and Marion Barry won. Okay, Marion Barry won. Do you know which part of the city put him over the top?
Which part? War One.
Well, you're close.
Two.
It was it was he won in the white neighborhoods.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong, the black people voted for it, but I'm just saying what separated him from the other two. Right. So, you know what I said to somebody today? They should put Marion Barry Boulevard in Ward 3.
Okay. Okay.
Because they got the ball rolling. But yeah, that's just another. I just thought I'd throw that out there because, see, I like to know the whole deal.
And I'm gonna tell
You
y'all
see what I'm
because
saying?
again, because
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah, look it up.
yeah, and I
Look it
just
up.
want to give them one little known history fact.
Yeah.
Berry Farms was not made named after Mayor Murray Berry. I'm
No.
tired of y'all saying
Oh,
it. Okay.
God. That's old. That goes way back.
They swear.
And it's Barry's farm. It's not Barry
Yeah.
Farms. It's Barry
Yeah.
Farm.
Farms. Right. Right.
Look it up. Get those $2,000 phones out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know even the council members know, and over time it has become, but it's technically, if you look at the old deeds, and Barry's farm.
It was James Barry
Thank you.
and his wife
Yeah.
who bought that.
Yeah.
You know.
So don't
Yeah.
say we already got something named after no. And that person was, oh Lord Jesus. Ignorance is not cheap and it's not bliss. Okay. It's not. It's not. Okay. So I'm just saying, and if I'm trying to be tame today. So, okay, tens of thousands of DC mail ballots were returned as undeliverable in recent elections. Okay. Tens of thousands of
Now,
DC
Miss
mail
Dawn's
ballots
justice. Look.
were returned as undeliverable. We will be dealing with this in detail in January. Okay, and I want to do it after people are sworn in. Okay. I'm gonna do it after they sworn in. What have we been saying? People can get sworn in, but they don't have to stay in.
They don't have to stay in.
Okay. All right. So yeah, soon we'll have new people on the council, and that's when you must start being vigilant and paying attention to the council hearings. And I have told you now they're opened up in person, so you can go to the council, sit there, and stare folks down. And you go up to the table and give your testimony, looking at everybody who's there. Now, it appears that some of the council members are still opting to be remote, and probably some of them should stay that
Stay
way.
that way.
But because the heat is getting ready to ratchet up here in January. Okay.
What you say, ratchet
Ratchet
up?
up.
Okay.
Okay, it's gonna ratchet up. Okay, yeah, we're gonna like an old pump, pump it up, pump it up. Yeah. So the ballots, I mean, and this started in the primary process with the bad mail in, and the mail ballots being returned, and this has created issues. Look, it says, according to the data obtained from the DC Board of Elections, 402,323 ballots were proactively mailed out to voters ahead of the June primary, of which 65,398 were returned as undeliverable. Ahead of the November general election, 508,543 ballots were mailed out. 87,921 were returned as undeliverable. Almost 100,000.
Almost 100,000.
Almost 100,000.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. So now, yeah. So how did that affect the elections? Now, I'm adding this into this concept. Several senior citizen buildings are saying they were promised a ride to the polls. Okay, through the government,
Right.
those little, how they had those vans at those senior citizens, and they never showed up. So a lot of seniors didn't get to vote. Okay, they did not get to vote. So uh, I don't want to sound like Donald Trump, but uh, was this a rigged?
This was rigged.
Okay,
That
I
was
mean,
niggery.
okay.
I
don't
call it
wanna sound-
niggery.
Now I'm not
That was
saying
niggery.
now.
Right there. You
Now
know it was.
I am not.
Y'all know it was. That was
I
niggery.
mean, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that would have, of course, I was involved in a particular race, but I'm
Mhm.
not saying that would have, the outcome would have been different, but maybe it would have been different for someone else. I
Mhm.
don't know, but those are a lot of ballots that were returned. Okay, I
Mhm.
mean, 87,000. Do you know we have cities that don't have 87,000 people?
That's right. That's right.
You know,
But the fact and the fucking audacity that they were able to get away with that.
yeah. See, so this will be one of the early topics. I'm going to wait until after everyone is sworn in. So I'll be talking to the right people, to the fresh people.
Yeah.
And tell them this is what we want now.
Mhm.
Okay. this is what we want. We want changed. And so they're saying that, our registry has been a concern for some time. And there have been some activists raising these issues, and they tried to make them feel like they're Looney Tunes. You know how they do you when you're bringing up real stuff, when you're bringing up real truth, and you're trying to tell people what to do, and to question things. And nope, nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to hear that. So, and this thing about let me go back to, I just, something clicked in my head with Mr. Mendelson. Mr. Mendelson uh, deliberately took the issue of renaming Good Hope Road off the agenda last month. It was supposed to be on the November agenda,
Wow.
and that would have made it before the election. Okay, he deliberately took it off the agenda for the council. So now it's safely after the election now. So what are you going to do? But yes, we should name something after Marion Barry.
It should have been
Something
something.
something significant.
Look how long
Because
it took him to get that statue.
oh yeah. And some people argued about the height of it and the whole bit, but he was a giant. And yes, he came back for a fourth term. Um, and after the scandal, after the scandal. And so, yes, you could say he was a rascal, but he was our rascal. And and he didn't leave till we said he would
There
leave.
you had to go. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. There you go. So this, we're looking forward to a new year, Miss Rose, uh, of holding people accountable.
Holding people accountable.
Holding people accountable. But this is absolutely bizarre. The number of, I mean, and our average of messing up on the and having ballots returned far exceeded the national average. I mean, you're going to have some return. I mean, we know this because people don't keep the
So
address.
nobody is doing anything about this.
No, not really. I think we have a couple of advocates here who are mentioned, who are like myself and you, waiting for the new people to be sworn in, and we can go after the appropriate people to do something, because that would be the appropriate thing to do. Wait till they get into place and talk to the movers and shakers who can really make some difference. But as you say, creating legislation now has to be our focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pushing, through ANCs or organizations, lobbies, have lobbying your own issues, and getting education to say this, we want this legislation, and go in there with the draft. You don't have to wait for them to come up with
You
something.
don't have to wait for them to come up with something,
No,
right?
no, no. Go do like the affluent people do, like the people did over there in Loudoun County. You go in there with your plan and tell them what you want. Call them up and tell them what you want, like the song says.
Okay.
Call them up and tell
Tell them what you want.
tell them what you want, and whether they're on the main line or the second line.
Yeah.
Jesus on the main line. Well, I don't know what line they on, but just I trust they got call wait and everything else. And you just, and you can get you organize in such a way that you have somebody on all the lines.
That's
Okay.
right.
You got 13. You got
That's
13.
Call them up. Call them up. Tell them what you want. Call them up.
Yeah.
Call them up. Tell them what you want. Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
don't have me going down
Yeah.
the Nelson building, busting out in the hallways with the song. We here to tell you what we want.
Yeah.
You work for us.
Okay.
You work for us. And
What they say? Are you ready for a miracle?
yeah, 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 yeah. And we gonna tap through those halls. I'm so glad they're back in person, because now we can just get it on. And as the song said, let's get it on. Yeah, I know y'all didn't think I knew that kind of music. Yeah, let's get it on.
Let's
You know,
get it
let's get it
on.
on because we and we're gonna ask the question, what's going on?
Okay.
Okay, and if I don't get a satisfactory answer, we're gonna let's get it on.
Okay.
And I want everybody to read, look at the council schedule, www.dccouncil.us, www.dccouncil.us. Go on there, find out who your council member is if you don't know. Look and remember now, the committee structures will be announced early January. Okay, so we'll know who's going to be chairpersons of the committees. I'll be on that like stink on manure.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna be on that thing, so tough, and tell you all which committees have what people. Now, there's already a real stir to get Ms. Bonds off the housing committee as chair.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, the Middleton has received a lot of, yeah, yeah, people are up in arms about that. Now, you know, there's a restructuring of the public housing authority.
Mm-hmm.
Clearing of the board, you know, and they want all new everything, and the report had to go into HUD November 30th. I can remember that. That was my birthday, and so they got that report in. Now, whether it was acceptable or not, we don't know yet.
Okay.
I rather doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
I rather doubt it. You know, because you just can't turn around those kinds of horrific situations,
Yeah,
or
overnight.
even a plan for them, or even a plan for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I know they couldn't correct it,
Mm-hmm.
but they probably didn't even have you know, well, if it goes into receivership, I wouldn't be surprised. So, uh, you know, I can see that as a possibility. I don't know. But I do know there will be a restructuring of that housing committee on the council for sure.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
see, and there should be, because you know Miss Silverman said they failed to do oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Now she said
She
that
said it out her own mouth.
Yeah,
Out her own fly trap. Okay. She
Mhm.
did.
And she has been, every time she has spoken in the last week or so, she has said, well, you know, this is my last legislative meeting, or maybe this month it's going to be, and I'm this and that. Okay, she's coming for you. Oh.
I know she gonna get them. I know she gonna tell them a new ass. I'm sorry. I know she getting y'all. She getting y'all. Y'all might as well cancel Christmas, New Year's.
It's called the Big Payback.
The big payback.
Big Payback. You all get
Okay.
that song up on your phones now.
Y'all gonna get it. I'm telling you. Y'all are going to get it. Cause y'all went down. They took that woman down, didn't they?
Oh yeah, yeah,
They took her down.
yeah.
I was out.
And, but the real,
I said, ain't they sneaky?
but the real takedown is getting ready to happen.
Mm, yeah. I said, ain't they sneaky?
Yeah, yep, 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 yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But watch this takedown. Now
Ooh.
keep in mind, you remember what her job used to be. She was loose lips at
Oh,
city
oh yeah,
paper.
she was at the city paper.
Loose lips.
One of those papers that they put all your business in. Okay.
She was loose lips.
Ooh. So I know she gonna. Oh, it's gonna be book deals and everything coming down. I see it coming down the pipe.
Remember this little expression? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Okay. Or when the homies can't have none. It ain't no.
It
Okay.
ain't fun.
And y'all know what I mean when I say that. Okay. She and Mr. Donna gonna tell you one. I'm gonna tell you the other. Okay. Ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Okay.
Okay.
Trust and
I'm
believe me. You
just
take it. Go with that with what you will. Okay. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Well, it's going to be
Huh.
an interesting cycle. That's
Mm.
all I know.
No Vaseline, baby.
No
Okay.
Vaseline.
No Vaseline. Okay. I'm telling you, you ain't getting no Vaseline.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I
And
hope
y'all gonna
this
get it.
was.
Yes.
You had to think things through.
Mm-hmm. And I got the popcorn and I'm watching. Like my mother say, God, I got the popcorn, okay? I'm gonna be sitting back eating the popcorn, okay? Ready for the shenanigans, because it's going down. Ooh, I might even call her up and see if she want to come on the show.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You know I am.
Well,
I ain't shit. That's I might even call her and say, "Come on, girl.
yeah.
Come
You know,
on out here.
you know,
Shit. Yeah, yeah, let's talk about it.
in
Come
many
on."
well, she's kind of like the lady who used to be on there, the council years ago, Miss Schwartz. She
Mm-hmm.
would go anywhere in the city. She knew places in Southeast some of the people who lived in Southeast didn't know.
Wow.
She knew the neighborhoods that well. Miss Carol Schwartz, who was
Mm.
on the council, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Okay.
One night she said, "Oh, you don't have to go that way. We can take the shortcut." I said, "Okay."
Okay. Wow. That's gonna be something special. I tell you. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to
I'm looking forward to it
2023.
as well. I
Mm-hmm.
am.
I really am.
Uh-huh. I'm looking forward to what you're doing, and what we're going to continue to do with the political education.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to what you and Tanya are doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's special, and we're going to do case development on Miss Don's justice,
Mm-hmm.
and that will take some.
Tell them about Miss Dawn's justice.
Well, Miss Don's justice is going to cover, as I said, family violence. We are going to cover DC politics. We'll look at it from the legalistic point of
Mm-hmm.
view, but you can never talk about legalistics or legal issues without the underpinnings,
That's
like the
right.
social system and that kind of thing. We're going to talk about voter suppression
Mm-hmm.
and what I just read to you about, the ballots and all of that folds into that. And the other thing is something you've done, and we'll look at it through a slightly different lens, is the structure of government.
Mm-hmm.
The three branches and how they operate in particular, with some focus on the judicial system
Right.
and how it keeps things in check. I want everybody to know I have not changed my thought about this, but the legislative branch of government is the most important branch.
Mm-hmm.
That creation of legislation, who controls the legislature, controls a lot. Now we
Oh,
have
that's
checks
right.
and balances. We have the checks and balances, but the mayor can't do any more than she's allowed to do, or he is allowed to do, with the oversight, with the rigorous oversight of the council. You know, the judicial branch is there to make sure laws are enforced in many ways, and we have not had great enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, of what's on the books, and many times we don't need new statutes, we just need the ones we have to be enforced.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at that too, that that's just like, with the gun laws and things that was already put into place before George Floyd.
Hmm.
And they was talking about, well, we're going to pass this law and we're going to pass this law. And I had to tell people, well, we already got that law. They're just not enforcing it.
Well, and the other thing is,
It's not enforcing it.
yeah, and with gun laws, and I get fussed out. I'll say fussed out at community meetings. Um, we had the strongest gun control laws in
Mm-hmm.
the country,
In the
and
country.
still we were the murder capital of
And
America.
of America.
Because
That's
a
right.
gun is an inanimate object, people.
Mm-hmm.
It is not powerful until someone picks it up
That's right.
and discharges it. Okay? So that says it's more about the people than the object. Now we need control. We need to keep guns out of the hands of mentally disturbed people and all of that. I get that. But just thinking that we having a gun control law is going to help us solve this violence issue, hey, we're dreaming.
We're
That's
dreaming.
you're
That's right.
delusional.
Yeah.
You're delusional if you think that's right. We've already gone down that road of having a real strong gun control law. So that's not it. You know, that is not it. Across this country, we're having a problem with violence. You look at that thing in Idaho, those four people stabbed to death. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, I mean, just we have some issues, and it's not about an inanimate object only. We have a people issue. You know,
Yeah.
yes, we have mental health issues, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're not taught to cope. You know, everything we live in an instant world. Everything's instant and quick and fast. And I think some of the problem with young people, because, or people in general, but young people in particular, they don't know a world without a microwave. They don't know a world without a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know
They
a
don't
world
know it,
without
right?
Instagram. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so everything is
Quick.
quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if they have to wait for anything or delay gratification, that is difficult.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
And I see older people for whom waiting is difficult
Mm-hmm.
in our present culture. So,
And I don't know why.
you
And
know,
it's just you just mentioning that, you know,
yeah,
because that's how people look at me and be like, but y'all,
yeah,
I done lived in times where
you had to
I
wait.
had to do this with the phone. You know, you got to spin it around.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you gotta take it and you gotta put your face in the water and spin it all the way around. And then let it go and come back. And then you gotta do the other. Okay. I
yeah,
lived in that
yeah.
time, so I know how it
Well,
was. And I was calling those boys. With
well,
that.
I'm
Yeah,
laughing.
you wrong.
I'm laughing because I remember when my brother's children came up one summer and they said, "What's wrong with your television? No, your television." I said, "Well, what do you mean? The picture was so beautiful and everything. How do you turn it off?" I didn't have remote control.
Okay. So that yes.
So my brother told him, he said, "How you like it up there in boot camp?"
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. These
I
kids
said, "How do
wouldn't
you change it?"
they wouldn't have be stand a chance if they had to live the lives that we had to live, okay? And I loved my life, okay? Go and steal Miss Tiny's clothes hanger just to make a jump rope with it. You remember them
Yeah,
those days? Okay, because you know we can't go to the dollar store and go get some jump ropes and stuff like y'all can do now. We had to literally go, yeah, okay. Trust and believe me, you know, and looking at that black and white TV or sitting in front of that small ass TV like the size of that speaker right there
or
for the whole fam.
and you couldn't wait till
Okay.
if it came on at 12 o'clock. You
Mhm.
had to start turning it on at eleven
At
fifty eight,
11:58
so
so that you
that
could be
little
able to
dot
get
would get
yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yes. It could be. Yes. Or that and the thing could clear up. You know,
Right,
because
the
yeah,
static
the
and all.
static and stuff could clear up. Like y'all got it good. Little ingrates, you know, y'all little, yeah,
Yeah,
y'all got it good.
so
These days, we ain't have it like that, babies. So appreciate, you know what I'm
appreciate.
saying?
But now, if we had that with the children now, we might be in
We
danger.
had children in the corn, child.
Yeah,
Okay, you know what I'm saying? We had children in the corn, child. All right, I'm Miss D. I don't even Miss D. We would have children of the corn. You know how all them kids, crazy kids.
disappear.
Yeah. They be like the children of the deer beat and went crazy, and yeah,
Yeah,
if they had to live
or,
that
or
life.
we would get Menendez.
Menendez brothers, okay? Yes, y'all. I'm telling you,
They
Yes,
way,
we would.
way
Yes,
too
we
much.
would. I said, somebody had said, that man said, I believe the children are future. I said, nah, these motherfucking children ain't our future. They more like children of the corn. It's a whole bunch of shit I can call them, but they ain't the future. Y'all, I'm sorry. You might hate me for saying this, but I'm keeping it real. I'm telling truths. Y'all think these truths was something else? Wait till 2023 truths.
Oh,
I'm telling you, they ain't ready. They not in real life. Cause we can't keep going down this road.
no,
We can't.
no.
This sickened me.
And behavior modification comes at a price.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it does. It comes at a price.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, and it's going to go warp speed into this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Soon as they get sworn in, it's already happening now.
Yeah.
I told people they better
Yeah.
wait. I'm
Yeah.
telling y'all think y'all living high off the good. Somebody say, "Ooh, I got an extra $1,000, child." You better hold them motherfuckers on. You better hold on to I'm telling you, you better be holding on to them because you might not get no food stamps. Okay.
It's changing.
It's
So,
going to change. Trust and believe me.
so
That 1,000, 1,600. Yeah, I had $1,600 for food stamps. Yeah, okay. And I hope you ain't go buy, tear it up and buy all them crab legs with it, cause you're going to be mad. Okay, cause they got something coming down the pike for y'all. Okay, trust and believe
pay
that.
attention and do read.
Mm-hmm. Y'all. Jesus,
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, you are welcome. It's this is home, okay? And we will continue to share the stories of our missing people. Y'all doing a great job. The caseload is really high. It is a lot. We have, according to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there are 660 missing Black girls under the age of 18 years old. All right, all in this country right now, and those are the ones that they have on their website. All right, so I need for y'all to participation is the key. Don't wait till this awful thing happens to you all. I'm going to be posting some resources because I had a lot of people reaching out needing some extra help. Okay. I will be out in the community this coming Sunday. But Christmas, of course, I will not. I will be with my family. And New Year's, okay, we will not be doing food distributions. Okay. So no, next week is the third week off. I mean, it's the third Sunday off. So I won't be out next week.
No.
Okay.
You will be back in 2023.
2023 is when I'll be back, all right? But second Sunday. But if you all need something, reach out to me. I'm pretty sure I can make a way. Thank y'all so much for riding. Happy Tuesday again, and I'll see y'all next week.